We're on Rider-Rooney. I don't know why Rider-Rooney has come into my brain. Anywho, hello, we're doing a dragon book series. I read books about dragons. Isn't that exciting? We are sort of, except that most of the books about dragons that exist right now I can't read, so that's fun, or I don't want to read. So I found books about dragons that I could actually get down with. So here we go. Like before, if you want to know what these books are about, go look it up yourself. Here is just my reviews and how I thought about these books. So the book that I read, number one that I talk about, these are my reviews, remember? So Starlighter, Dragons of Starlight, book one by Brian Davis. I read that as something different. Okay, I gave this book 3 stars. Interesting take on humans and dragons living together. Oh yes, that's right. Characters were pretty intriguing and the worlds we saw were easy to understand. It was not the best, not the worst, but overall an interesting premise. I would probably continue, but after one book, I've reached a limit on what I can absorb. So from what I can remember about this book, I'd like little mini extra for you. Dragons speak and run an entire planet. So I don't know, it was kind of odd to see this. It was a very strange take on dragons for me, from what because again, this is like one of the first dragon books I've really ever read. So, you know, there you go. That was that. Okay, The Boy Who Fell from the Stars by Ted Dekker and Rochelle Dekker. So Ted Dekker, my favorite author, one of my favorite authors, and his daughter teamed up and wrote these. They are middle grade fiction, so they're very short and sharp. But here we go. Here is the review. 3.75 stars. I had more to say about this one. Okay. Wowee! Not a book I would recommend for a younger audience, only because some pretty intense themes and moments. Maybe that 14 to 16-year-old range and beyond, because as an adult, I actually quite liked it. I will agree, it was very... The main character is young, but the themes and what's going on, bruh. Dude. Okay, it's really short, but there are like 3 smaller... There are 3, I didn't write like, where did I get that? Oh, I quite liked it. I can't even read these properly. It's really short, but there are 3 smaller books in the first trilogy and 3 in the second that I have to continue with, I actually think if we'd gotten a training book, it could have been 3 longer books, but every writer has a specific vision for a reason. Like so you could have expanded this to make it actually a larger series and like a longer one and a little bit differently, I personally think. But, you know, like I said, like this is written for a specific audience, for a purpose, etc. There are so many exciting places this story can go. I liked our main characters, though the fact that Jack is 12 is a little unsettling in light of the journey he's about to take, along with all the other kids. Some parts felt a little slow moving for the book so short, but it was full of no way moments, which picked things up again. Yeah, definitely want to continue this, but again, like I said in that at the beginning, I had to have a break. Like this is a lot. So it was a good book, but like it's a lot. Okay, The Hadley Academy for the Improbably Gifted by Connor Grennan. Now, I read this a while ago, but there was dragons in it, so I counted it towards this, and I gave it 5 stars. This is one of the books I love this book, I remember. So, hang on. Okay. I happened upon this book by chance, and I'm so glad I decided to read it. I don't mind a good YA, and particularly a good YA fantasy, so I was really excited to read this one, and hoping it had a solid plot to hold my 20-something-year-old attention. I was 20-something when I read this. Not anymore. It absolutely did. I have to admit that I was able to guess most of the ending, about a third of the way in, but I was excited to continue and find out if I was right. I thought it was a supremely clever idea and plot. Wow, supremely clever, there you go. And enjoyed stumbling along with the characters, who were all newbies, to the world of the Hadley Academy and Improbables, as was the reader. I enjoyed the characters, though I would have liked more of some. I loved the ending, which I predicted anyway. I did find that sometimes the information felt more like an intense info dump of important stuff, and I had to take a few breathers. And I wrote, haha. I don't know why. If there are more coming, I am totally on board. If not, I enjoyed this book so much that it doesn't really matter. Now, having read this book quite a while ago now, it does matter. It needs more books. We need more books, Connor, please, okay? Because it was so good. Okay, next book, and I believe this is the last one, because like I said, there are not many dragon books I can actually read. Okay. Okay, so this one was Anathalion by, and I think I'm saying that correctly, by H.A. Pruitt. Now, we're going to end off this video on a bit more of a sad note, because I gave this 2 stars, and here's my review. DNF after skim reading to halfway, but I wanted to write down my thoughts, so I did not actually complete this book. I didn't understand the full chapters of several kids' POVs in their normal life at the start. There were characters that you didn't know... Hang on. There were characters that we weren't going to see or hear too much about when they were on their quest, and I don't know why we spent so much time developing this when it's only semi-relevant to the characters as people. Then, after I finally got past those chapters and we got into the world, it was odd. Lots of talking and flying insects and spiders, which is not, capital letters, my thing on the whole. Limited exceptions. There is a particular book I'm thinking about that is a limited exception, which I have read, and it was icky to read. I started skimming at this point just to be able to understand what the heck was going on in this story, because it was a bit much. The blurb was annoyingly vague, and I couldn't work out for the life of me the purpose of this quest, the story, characters, and what those necklaces with the dragon picture had to do with anything. When I reached a part naming witches, I was done. DNF City for me. I think it's aimed very seriously at middle grade readers, so I'm not the target audience, but it's so long and the illustrations were very unusual. They didn't seem to have a purpose outside of the author just wanting to do it, and I do believe she did draw those herself, so props for her doing that. I didn't enjoy what I actually got through of this book, and I'm sad to say it. I was very, very sad to say it, actually. So look, I've had a couple of good experiences, some mixed experiences and not great experiences. Unfortunately for me, the Iron Wings of this world, I cannot read for various reasons. And so that's not going to happen for me. But those were the dragon books I actually managed to find and read. I mean, maybe if there's some other good dragon books out there, I'll be able to, read those in the future. But for now, those are the ones. See you in the adventures.